to JR14. Welcome back to another live stream. It's been forever since I've done a live stream with you guys, and I figured this would be the good time to get it done. I have a new setup here. I'm trying to work on that. I'm trying to work on the quality of the videos a lot more. So I figured when we do this live, we'll actually have a little bit more of a fun time, meaning that better with the audio, better as well with the visual aspect of everything also. So hopefully you guys definitely do enjoy this live stream. And I'm gonna back up really quickly so that I can close this window because you can hear the outside noise of the street. So let me do that real quick. There we go. So cool. So first of all, again, this is going to be a Q&A. This is going to be a Q&A video for you guys. So for instance, if you have any questions about Project Mark 7 and where it is now versus what's going on with the car. I know you guys haven't seen it on the channel in a while, besides the incident, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But also what's happening with the track stuff, right? We're in 2021. I told you guys that in 2021 we're going to be doing some things. So before we get started, I just want to get some people in this live really quickly. I think we'll be on here for about an hour, depending on if more people join in, or if more people decide to, get things going. So, hopefully we can get underway with everything, and hopefully we can get everything situated. So I'm gonna wait for some. I'm gonna wait a little bit to see if I can get some people to join in really quickly. Hopefully I can see if I have to pause this for a second. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened. But hopefully you guys still see me. Hopefully you guys are still there. But I'm gonna wait a couple minutes, and we're gonna get started on some of the topics that we're gonna discuss today, as well as modifications that you're gonna be seeing in the future, as well as the track build stuff with the Project Mark 7 and where everything's going to be. So we'll just take a moment, get everybody in here. Let's see. Hard Reducer just picked up a 2020 GTI for $25,000. That's actually a really good price. Wow. 25,400 with 0% APR financing. The deals out there, the deals are out there. Yo, literally during COVID, unfortunately, it is a bad time for everybody during COVID, but also on a good note that literally, if you're in the market of buying a vehicle, this is pretty much the time to do it. Now, auto sales, obviously, auto dealerships make a lot of their money on new cars, but they also make a good amount of money on pre-owned cars. So if you are looking to get a new car or a used car, usually they really work with people that have APR, that need a car or is looking to get into the market, because obviously COVID killed a lot of things for everybody. It killed the market, it really, even Volkswagen contacts me like at least twice a month asking me like, hey, we need your car for used, for our used lot inventory, and if you do so, we'll give you double what your car's worth, or something like that, something along those lines. And I always say no, because one, no, I put too much money into this car not to just trade it in that way, unless if I fully own it, that's different. Also to be able to do certain things such as like do other things that I want to do, like with the track stuff. Looks like we've been on here for about 3 minutes already, and there's not a lot of people watching today. It must be because it's a little early, which is understandable. Usually I do my live streams a little later. A lot of you guys are from California that are watching, so a couple of you guys are. If you guys are just joining in, please make sure you give this video a thumbs up before we go ahead and get started, so that this way this gets views and gets the right retention after it goes publicly, after we do this live. So talking about Project Mark 7, what's going on with the car, what's going on with it, right? Everyone wants to know. People have been asking me about it. People haven't seen it in a while. So pretty much the issue with the Project Mark 7, pretty much, and actually we have this box, which is what's gonna be the issue. And I actually found these issues out. Obviously, you really can't stretch the car's legs out in New York. It's too much traffic, potholes, not the best roads. So I'm not really able to find out what exactly is wrong with the car. However, when I went to North Carolina, I was able to stretch the legs of the GTI just a little bit. It's more land. It's nicer weather there as well. So, um, and then I started noticing some issues. And the more I drove the car, the worse it got. This was back in November. The car would just stutter for no reason. Sometimes it'll shut off. Well, it didn't. That didn't start happening just yet, but it was blowing black smoke out the exhaust. On only on boost. So whenever I'm like on fully on boost, when I'm flooring it, it'll blow a good amount of smoke out the exhaust, which I am assuming is blow by. And if it is blow by, then I'm kind of wondering, well, why is there issues with blow by if I deleted the PCB system and I do maintenance on my oil catch can by draining out the oil catch can like every few weeks, as I am as I do my oil changes, or even when I pump gas, I look at everything like that, just to ensure that we have good maintenance. Maintenance is done on the car perfectly. So I didn't know what was going on. So when I was down there, what I did was I did an oil change. Black smoke is fuel, so actually it was, like for instance, a couple of my buddies that was with me, they were telling me like, yo, Jay, you might want to check this out because you're ahead of us, but you're blowing black smoke out the exhaust. Another thing I was noticing was like these black specks of, I don't know if it was oil or something, because it gets on the back of the hatch. Now, I don't know if it's just because of the fact that the car has catless downpipes and this, that, and the third. It could be a number of different things. It could be turbo seals are bad, which I doubt, because of the simple fact that I literally, when I did the Litco L500, so the oil catch can really does work. It does. Now, again, the reason why I deleted my PCB was for two reasons. One, when I had crank walk, the PCB had failed. And it was metal shavings in everywhere. And then also the second reason was the intention of me doing the engine rebuild series was to make more than, it was supposed to make more than 30 psi. It was supposed to be a high boost car. So I knew PCVs don't work well over 30 psi. So I was just like, you know what, let's put a racing line oil catch can in there and we should be good. Now, we put the motor and everything back together. I got the Mark 7.5 cylinder head from Auto House in Paterson, New Jersey. And those guys, shout out to those guys, they're amazing. And we put the car back together. I actually did not just put the head on. I got the cylinder head decked. I got it cleaned, and I got it, the valves resealed. So I spared no expense to making sure that that was in tip-top shape. So yeah. So now, we're coming down on the road, and the car never blew a lot of smoke out like that before, until, like I said, till recently when I went down to North Carolina. Another thing was that the car just kept misfiring. It was just really, really bad. And then also, there was like, when you open the hood and where the turbo sits, there's like a smoke stream. It looks like a tiny pinhole somewhere, or like a leak, where like, I guess there's pressure being built somewhere in the system, and it was definitely not a good day for it. So, and the reason why I think it's blow by, I'll explain in a minute, was because recently I also looked at the charge pipes, as well as the charge pipes, as well as the throttle pipe, and the actual sensor that goes into the throttle pipe before the manifold, before the throttle body and before the manifold, and it was saturated in oil. It was saturated in oil so bad that I actually had to, unfortunately, replace the sensor. Shout out to Europa Parts for that, because they're the only ones close to me. They also are from New Jersey, that had that sensor on deck, and they were able to ship that out to me as soon as possible. So I figured it was just a sensor. So I did a few things, right? I changed the spark plugs to NGK. I think they're called 74 something -9s. They're very hard to come by, especially now due to COVID and due to one of their facilities burning down. So they're trying to catch back up on demand. So I actually went ahead and ordered 4. I found 2 from Euro Tuning, and I found the other 2 on Amazon. Total of 4. Put them in the car while I was in North Carolina. It fixed some of the issue, but not completely. Then also I decided to do an oil change. It was a while since I'd done an oil change, so I was like, okay, let's put some new oil in the car, some fresh oil, and then let's go out. The car drove better, but I was still getting the black smoke out the exhaust, and I couldn't figure out why. So I was like, okay, let's let's try to figure out what's going on. So I couldn't figure it out in North Carolina, so I figured maybe there was something wrong with the PM4 controller. But again, I wasn't throwing any check engine lights or anything like that. So I drove the car back to New York, and then I drove the car again to Georgia because we had to visit family for Thanksgiving. And as I'm driving the car, it's getting worse. Like drivability, like during cruising, like I would cruise for like about like during the drive, I would cruise for like 20 minutes, and then I would like get on it, and then it would just break up really bad. But then it would like it's clearing itself out. Um, and I was just like, okay, well, it's winter time anyway. I'm gonna put the car up for the winter. I have the Civic, as you guys have seen from my previous YouTube videos. I actually did have I actually do have a budget Honda Civic that I drive for my second job, which is Grubhub, and as well as I use that car to do little content with. As far as like buying a car for $1,000 and cheap things you can do yourself to make it more modern and to make it interesting and to make it more friendlier to drive to deal with on a daily basis because the car is 22 years old. Then I did some of those things on my channel. So if you guys are interested in that, go to JR14 on YouTube and you can check those videos out. I believe I did like 3 or 4 of them already with the Civic. Now, so when I got back home, I decided, let me just do X, Y, and Z. I did Grubhub a couple of times in the car because the Civic was getting worked on it because I just purchased it. And I was waiting for like suspension components to come in because 22-year-old car, you got to replace the suspension components. I was driving the GTI for a little while and I just noticed the drivability that was just getting worse and worse. If you let the car idle for a long period of time and then you start driving it, it'll break up really bad. And then like about, I would say 2 or 3 weeks ago, the car just died on me. And every time I came to a stop, the car would just die on me, or the car would rev itself without me touching the gas. It would rev to 2,000, like that by itself. EPC light came on, check engine light finally came on. Now, the reason why Geo couldn't diagnose it was because something wrong with Cobb. Well, it's not Cobb. Well, it is Cobb's fault. It's not a fault of anybody. I don't want to say it that way, but the issue with Cobb, the Cobb access port, is when you flash the car, you can't use VDCS or any other diagnostic tool to check out engine codes. So for instance, OBD11, you can go into any other module except the ECM or the ECU, the engine control module. You can't access anything in that unit. It'll just not let you do anything. Same thing with VCDS. It was same exact thing. It would just not let you look at anything. So I was like, okay, we would have to flash the car back to stock and then do everything. But it threw a code, and thank God I have a P3 gauge. The P3 gauge reads the engine codes that are existing on the car before it goes into its normal mode. So the new code that came up was P2188. And for you guys that are not familiar with that code is basically, the description of that code is cars running too rich at idle, which means that I have leaky injectors, or an injector is leaking. This weekend, this Saturday, I'm actually going to be getting the car fixed through Geo because now I need to get, obviously it's now 2021. I need to get the car back to North Carolina so that we can start the track build stuff with the GTI. So with all that stuff being said, it's just kind of a hassle. So I actually do have a couple of parts that you will need. Shout out to Deutsch Auto Parts or Shopdap.com. They actually had all these parts readily available. One thing you're going to need, even though I just replaced it 20,000 miles ago, yes, since the engine build, I have put 20,000 miles on the car. This is an intake manifold gasket. Whenever you take off your manifold, it's always wise to replace the gasket so you don't have any seeping, no leaking, or anything like that. I'm also thinking about, instead of modifying my existing manifold, I'm just thinking about ordering one from the UK. Shout out to Dan, who from Litco Turbos out in the UK, and he was explaining to me that they're actually pretty cheap, one, and two, the Euro manifold. So if you guys don't know, Mark 7 and Mark 7.5 GTIs, as well as Golf Rs in Europe, actually come standard with multi-port injection. in the USA cars to get better fuel economy and for fuel regulations for the federal government in the United States. There are the GTIs and Golf Rs from Mark 7.5 and Mark 7s are direct injected here. So in Europe, they actually have a multi-port injection. They have a different manifold than the US cars. So actually all it is just a bolt-on application, and you would just need to get a loom, or they call them a loom, but a wiring harness is what we call them in the United States, for it to plug and play and work as it should. So you technically can have multi-port injection on these cars, which is why European cars are spec'd or have a little bit more power, probably have a little bit more power than the US cars, due to the fact that they have that they have 8 injectors instead of just 4. So excuse me. So actually I went ahead and I picked out some new injectors. I have one where the bag is open already. So I actually, shout out to, again, these are not cheap. I'm not doing the multi-port injection yet, but if I decided to do multi-port injection, that would be the route I would go. Spending $800 to $900 for multi-port injection when you can simply get everything for like $200 from a used car, from a UK car, and ship everything to the United States and just get a wiring harness, you'll make out well under $900. So here is the, I don't know if you guys can see this, but here is the fuel injector here. Part number for these, if you guys are interested, is 06A 906036K. Now, I actually did order these as well as the reseal kits. Now, what I wasn't sure about was if the new injectors come with them. So the reseal kit includes these clips that hold them into the manifold, as well as these grommets here. So if you look at the top, we're looking at this this green O-ring right here, and also this O-ring on this plastic ring on the bottom. And if you look at the underneath that, and if you look at the very tip, and it's amazing. Like, you see, I don't know if the camera's gonna pick this up. Hang on, maybe I can dim this light down so you guys can clearly see it. Let me see. So if you guys can see that a little bit, I don't know if you guys can see this. Maybe not. Okay, so you guys won't be able to see that, but there's like these little pinholes where the fuel actually comes out. These holes are extremely tiny. It's amazing that cars will run properly with fuel that runs that little bit, you know, into the cylinder, and they have to have a perfect spray pattern so there's no issues. And then there's another little ring on the bottom here, this little white plastic ring, that's to keep everything sealed. So just in case if I have to pull the injectors out again, I have reseal kits for all 4 new injectors. Now, the black smoke could be due to fuel, due to the fact that it's just leaking so much, like, it's just leaking so much fuel that when I get on the car, it's just blowing black smoke out. It's just unburnt fuel or just burning fuel. That could be definitely it. It also could be a oiling issue. Hopefully we can resolve that all this weekend, where I can actually take delivery of the car and do some more content on it. Now, content that you guys can expect on it. So that's just to go back. That's pretty much what's going on with the Project Mark 7. So it's currently at European Auto now. It's been there for a while. I just haven't been able to enjoy the car because of other little small things that have been going on with it. And kind of annoying a little bit, not gonna lie. It's definitely kind of annoying. It's definitely a stressful process. It's definitely just a never-ending cycle. But this is the game you play when it comes down to modifying a car. Not even just modifying, going to the extremes that I've done, like rebuilding the motor, and everything in the motor is pretty much changed at this point. So not really too concerned about it at this point. I'm just trying to get through it day by day. The repair will be done on Saturday, so then hopefully I'll be able to take delivery of the GTI on Saturday. Now, 2 weeks ago, I actually got into an accident, not necessarily a car accident, but I guess, you know, one of those metal diamond plate toolboxes that are bolted on the back of a pickup truck. It looks like maybe a part of that flew off or broke off and it fell onto the street. And I was driving, and the car in front of me ran over it, and it was windy that day, so the wind took it and it swung right into the front of my car, destroying the front bumper, cracking and destroying the fog light, as well as the grill and everything else. So the Aerofab splitter, however, held up just fine. So I actually had to go to a body shop. I had to get a new bumper, had to get it resprayed, new paint. I actually had to get everything situated with that. That cost money. And that's back to being fixed. But however, I never got the front bumper rewrapped. So it's just white with the red in the front. People say it looks cool. I think it looks weird. Now, the only reason why I'm not rewrapping the front bumper, I'm not in a whatchamacallit, I'm not in a rush to get that model to rewrap the front bumper, is because we're doing the wide body in a month from now. So it doesn't even really make sense for me to go ahead. Oh, sorry. It doesn't even really make sense for me to go ahead and to do that and rewrap the bumper, then cut the fenders and redo everything, and then everything's gonna look sloppy. So when a car is down in North Carolina, when we do the wide body stuff, when we do the wide body, the Boomerang kit from New German Performance, shout out to those guys, and shout out to Boomerang for being a partnership on this build. Yeah, so pretty much after that point, we will go ahead and get everything situated when it comes down to getting the car down south. Now, a lot of people talked about the crank walk issue. Will it happen again? This, that, and the third. I'm finding little things out every single time that I do research. So, for instance, I just ordered a clutch stop. Shout out to Gio for getting that for me from ECS. And hopefully that will prevent me from pushing the clutch further down than when I have to, further down than what I have to push it down to get engage gear or to start the car. That should be okay to deal with. But hopefully we can get underway with that pretty soon. That also will be taken care of on Saturday. Now again, guys, please continue giving this video a thumbs up. There's 11 of you guys watching right now. There's only 4 thumbs up right now. Come on, I need you guys to go ahead and continue giving this video a thumbs up. Now, when it comes down to the track stuff, right? So the track stuff will come about, I would say, probably around April. Aerofab still needs to do some development. Shout out to Aerofab, Marco, Rich, Monica, and the whole Aerofab team there, because they are doing some monumental things with their new facility. I believe it's about almost 16,000 square feet. So they're doing their thing down there, and definitely doing their thing down there, and they're definitely getting underway with some things of that nature. So I can't wait to see the new facility, and of course you're going to see the unveiling of that facility on their Instagram page. But I will be making a full detailed video of the walkthrough of the shop while I'm down there in North Carolina. Now the car with the fuel injectors has to get fixed so that I can drive the car to North Carolina. Once I get the car to North Carolina, I'll probably be there for a weekend, but I'm not there to hang out. I'm there to do work, which means there's more boxes of parts to install. Now, shout out to Auto House, because they sent me an actual battery tray that I needed for my Mark 7 for a long period of time, because I had, as you guys know, I've done a numerous amount of intakes on the car, trying to show you guys different intakes on the vehicle, so that this way, if you wanted to know the install process or how each one went, or I had the first generation integrated engineering. I've had Rock Auto. I forgot the first name of it. That never made the channel because it was just complete crap. The 2 MST intakes I've had. Wow, I don't even remember which other ones that I had. I actually had what else did I have in the car before? I actually also had the currently I have the Forge Motorsport intake in the car, and that one is actually pretty good. I love the Forge Motorsport. However, it doesn't fit my upgraded charge pipes well. When they designed that intake, it's designed for the OEM charge pipes, which are significantly smaller, and they're shaped a little differently. I do like the new APR intake. I just think that the APR price is a little too expensive, in my opinion. But you pay for quality, right? So I actually am doing another intake install. That's one of the things that you're going to be seeing when I'm down there in North Carolina for the weekend. It's actually going to be the install is actually going to be the new full intake system from Integrated Engineering with the carbon fiber lid. So actually, we're gonna have that whole setup to where we need the new battery tray because I broke it with one of the MHT ones. The one of the grommets that they used was so tight when I pulled the box up, it snapped off one of the prongs for the that sit on the battery tray for the intake box to hold. So all this time I never replaced it, and I'm weird about just stuff staying broken for a long period of time. So I went ahead and I got a new one here. So I'm going to replacing the battery tray, putting my lightweight battery back in, and then we'll do the install. But when I take all this stuff out, the first thing I will be doing and taking out the battery tray and everything else, I will be changing the shifter. Now, I actually have that part right here. Give me a moment, and I'll explain to you guys what we have here. I'm not going to open up all the boxes. I'm just going to show you guys this really quickly because I was supposed to come out with this video a long time ago, but the unfortunate part for me not coming out with this video is because the GTI was broken for a long period of time and we couldn't figure it out why. But we actually have this, which is the Shopdap Holy Shift Kit. Now, this kit, they're still developing. Well, they're not developing, but they have them available. You can place your orders today for them on shopdap.com. Shout out to these guys because these guys, when it comes down to being the mechanics and knowing everything about Volkswagens in and out, these guys are the truth. And look how beautiful this actually looks. I'll tilt this down so you guys can see and I don't drop anything, but look at this kit. So this kit actually includes everything that's billet aluminum, and it makes the shifters shorter, but it also makes the shifts really crisp in between in and out of gear. Makes it a little bit more direct, makes it a little bit more notchy. But look, just look at the fit and finish on this. Like, look at this, for instance, right? Look, this is aluminum, but look how polished it is. Look how, like, complete this is. And it has a really good touch to it. Now, these are actually going to be things that grab on your shifter cables. They have little ball joints inside. You have Allen bolts that go into these, and then you have the nuts that grab onto them. So pretty much your shifter cable is going to go in here, and then you just close this up like this, and then you bolt it down, and then it'll give a good bite, depending on what you need and stuff like that. Now, again, metal tends to fuse together over time. So there's a place here, if you ever wanted to loosen it, you just put like a screwdriver in here. I purchased this kit back on Black Friday. They only had a number of them on Black Friday, which is why I snagged one as soon as I can, because I don't know if you guys remember, but they were limited quantity on Black Friday, and there was only a few available. Now, there's also, like stuff like this, the CNC DAP, the shift guider. This doesn't need to be metal because it's, obviously plastic will work just as good. But this is all this is metal. Look at actually, if you look in here, they actually have the one piece that's not a tooth, which is the correct orientation, and is like they milled a gear set in here. It looks really good. Like, the quality of this material is actually pretty good. And of course, you're going to see a video in this install video. It would be nice to have everything completed, meaning like a proper intake. This shift kit, you're very welcome, by the way. So just keep, I know you're not the only one, Private Eyes, you're not the only one that's asked me about this shift kit. A few people have ordered it and not received it yet. This is not, I don't believe this is made in-house. So they actually go to a machine company, a machining company for metals and stuff like that, and they make them. Now, obviously, you also got to remember, it is COVID as well. So there is going to be some delay on this. Now, I don't want you to think that you're not going to get it. You are going to get it. I know Paul personally. I know the guys over there at Shopdap personally. They're the last thing they want to do is give a bad impression to a customer. They don't want to do that. So just bear with them, and just inquire about it sooner than later. All right. So you're going to be seeing this install video too, as well as the intake from Integrated Engineering with the carbon fiber lid and the battery tray replacement. Now, that's all the modifications I do have. The next thing that's going to be happening with the car fairly soon, I'm going to put this back so I don't forget. The next thing that's going to be happening with the car is pretty much let's see. What's the next car, Jay? Okay, so that's another thing I want to talk to you guys about. So I've been thinking about, obviously, like for instance, I keep changing intakes. Eventually, like I keep telling everybody on the channel, and first of all, I love everyone that supported the channel thus far. But the issue comes into play now where this build is going to come to a close, meaning that there's going to be so much more that I can do to it before I just run out of content, and I need to get another car. I don't know what kind of car I decided to get. Well, I've made a decision on what and I'll tell you guys too if I really. There's a few cars that I like, but the ones I keep leaning towards, um, I forget about them for a little bit, but then something always draws me back to it, and I can really appreciate them as far as that. Yo, Jaylon, what's up, man? So I'm not getting a car anytime soon. I would say if I was getting a car, this will definitely be for the year of 2022. I do want to just before I go to that, I do want to just talk about quickly. Like I said, 2021 is really focusing on uh, the track builds. Um, it's really focusing on the track build for the GTI. It's also focusing on the track edition stuff, the Aerofab stuff, which would be a big reveal. We would get the car rewrapped with print coat rapid. BJ, shout out to you. And we will finally take this car on some track days. And I will record those track days to show you some track events, New Jersey Motorsport Park, Lime Rock, possibly take it up to New York Safety Track upstate, and finally get some seat time with the car, see where I need to change stuff and where I don't need to change stuff. Um, Things will be changed. Like for instance, I already changed over the coilovers to BC Racing coilovers. Amazing coilovers. If you guys are in the market for a set of coilovers, I totally recommend BC Racing. Best bang for your buck. Me and Gio said the same exact thing. Best bang for your buck. I am going to be making a video with a suspension specialist. I just got the install done just to get it done because the suspension on the H&R coilovers actually broke on my car. It collapsed. It didn't damage anything on the car, thank God, but it collapsed on the passenger front side. So I had to switch the coilovers over, and I had to get an alignment done on it. But ever since then, I haven't done anything else. But I do want to let you guys know this, that I will be definitely be making a full video on alignment, corner balancing, getting the car really truly dialed in, what to look for suspension, when to change it to a more softer dampening setup versus a more stiffer setup. I'm going to be going over that with you. There will be a build series on the track edition stuff. I told, Rich and me have talked about also trying to get me to come down there when the body work's getting done so I can get some of that done so I could show you some of that. That's not going to be a full video on how to cut the fenders and stuff like that, but it will show some details of it, and the end product, of course. We're already talking about wheels, and we're already talking about wheels for the car as well as new tires for the car. I'm currently trying to work with. I've currently worked with Accelera, which is Tire Streets on Instagram. They're great. They're a great company. I actually do want to try some Toyo 888Rs on the car. I know they're loud on the ears, but it'll be pretty good drive. The only thing I'm a little worried, or just some R888s. The only thing I'm a little concerned about is rain. So I know those tires don't do the best in the rain. So I have to, excuse me, I have to be mindful of that. But we'll definitely consider that fact coming forth in the upcoming months. Now, now we're gonna talk about new cars or new cars that's possibly gonna be on the channel in a second. That Glenn, that's gonna answer your question. Let me see. Do you like the new apartment tank? This catch can does really work. Yes. I already. Okay, so these are questions that I answered already. Now, My Culture NYC. When are we going to see some racing? Now, the timeline that we currently have, again, timelines can change. I'm supposed to be bringing the car back down south in the beginning of April, and I should be picking the car up first week in May. So hopefully I can start getting to some racing events fairly soon so that I can, get the car dialed in. But also with the event, when the car is finished, it will be going to Virginia International Raceway for a full unveiling video. Hopefully, that is still the plans with Aerofab and myself to unveil the track edition products. That will be a full deal that you guys can obviously that video will be on my channel. So and Aerofabs. So this way will be a new era for both of us, and we can get everything underway. Now, um, now that hopefully that, and so hopefully I can get to do some racing. So hopefully some Pocono racing runs, hopefully some Lime Rock runs, hopefully some Eurocracy runs, where I can go to Canada and rip it on a track. You guys out there in Canada showed me so much love 2 years ago. Unfortunately, we could not go yesterday because the border yesterday. Unfortunately, we could not go last year, 2020, because of COVID, and the borders from the U.S. to Canada were shut down. They were closed, so we could not cross the border, even if I decided to go. So, yeah, that was an issue. But hopefully, I would say probably like by mid-May or the end of May into June, then I can really start putting the car through some of its paces and really do some track days and see how it does. See if this is what I wanted to do, and see if this is really the car that I really truly love to be a track car, because this is what I'm building it for. Now, going back to Glenn's question, if you guys are just joining in, Glenn asked, what is going to be the next car on the JR14 YouTube channel? Now, I've been going back and forth with a number of different cars. 335 BMW is the number one car, not the number one car, but it is a car that keeps coming back up. Even though yes, they have their issues, they have their quirks. They're not that they're reliable to an extent, right? To a certain point, that to a certain stopping point, that's when it becomes unreliable. So it's just a knowing where that threshold is. Shout out to a gentleman. His Instagram name is stance underscore 335. Beautiful, beautiful F3335 N55 cars, pure turbo stage twos. And he's done fuel pumps and stuff like that, and he makes a good amount of change. I think he makes like 5 and change, which is really like a sweet spot for that car. Which I think the next car I will do, I will not go all balls to the wall like I did with a GTI, meaning I'm not gonna put a built motor in it. I'm not gonna do all this stuff with it. I'm not going that far. But a car that is actually really becoming near and dear to my heart is actually the B8 and a half S4 and S5. The reason why I say that is because I already have a turbo car and I love supercharged cars. So when it comes down to that, I noticed that first of all, I wanted a 6-cylinder for my next car. I was even thinking about a Mark V R32, but the issue with that car for me is that the content for you guys will be great, but it'll be very limited. So in order for me to make some really good content with a car like that, I have to invest big money to turbo kits and stuff like that to get that car to do for YouTube, what I needed to do. And I don't think it's really worth it. Not to say that the Mark V R32 is a bad car, because it's definitely not by any means, but I don't think for myself, for what I normally am used to driving, and for YouTube, for my channel and the future of that channel, I don't think it's going to be something where I want to invest in a car like that. Now, I say B8 and a half S4 because B8 and a half S4, which I believe is the years of 2013 to 2016. And the reason why I say, to 16. And the reason why I say that literally a B 8.5 S4 is a good alternative, or S5 is a good alternative, is because one, this car will be a DSG car. That is definitely, if I just stumble upon a manual and I decide, okay, I want to do it, then that's one thing I might consider a manual. But if I'm looking for this car, like if I'm looking for the right one, the right color, the right options, my go-to would be a DSG car for this next build. And the reason why is because I have a manual already. I have a manual already. I'm not getting rid of it. So there's no point for me to go ahead and get there's no point for me to go ahead and get 2 manual cars in New York. It's just It'd be nice to have a nice luxury sports, a luxury sports sedan that's a DSG that's automatic. I could drive it anywhere, have a good time, enjoy it, and then get into GTI when I want to hoon around and shift gears and stuff like that. So I have the best of both worlds if I do that. Um, Now, an S4, there's a lot of benefits to that car. There's a lot you can do with that car. Aesthetics, you can do a lot with. Tech, because, let's say if I get a 2013, 2014 S5 or S4, there's not a lot of options when it comes down as far as like the infotainment. It's really dated. And there are new MMI systems or new Android units. You can get them in 8.8-inch screens, you can get them in 10.25-inch screens, or you can get the 12.5-inch screen. And it has Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, web searching, all this other great, beautiful technology that is in a unit that is a plug and play system. You know, there's no cutting, there's no splicing. The modules and everything will all work just fine, and it communicates with the rest of the car seamlessly. I believe it's like around anywhere from $600 to $1,000, but again, it'll work out perfectly. So I'm thinking that that is the car that is going to be next on the channel for me. And the next thing is I got to look at another car. It was like the next car I do get, I want to have price range in my head. I'm not trying to buy a new car. For the longest, I was going to actually consider getting the Mark 8R. Even though that's a great option, and even though a lot of people would really push me to get that car, I'm looking at the price on that car, $44,000, and that's before it being a DSG, and then taxes. We're looking at a car that's going to be 50 grand. 50 grand for a Golf R. I think that's going to be a little bit too much. So think of it this way. Rumors have it. So the Mark 7.5R is roughly around, I would say around 42,000. So then the new one, obviously with inflation and stuff like that, let's just say it goes up to 43.5, right? Let's just say 43,000, 43,500. Then you have to add a DSG to that. So the DSGs usually go for $2,000 or $2,500 more. So that's 46,000. New York state taxes on a car like that, it's going to be about a little over $3,000 in taxes. So now you're financing a car that's 50 grand. $50,000 for a Golf R Mark 8. Yes, it'll be new for content. It'll be new for the channel. It will be a car that not a lot of other people have, but I have to live within my means, and I'm not gonna invest 50 grand into a car and pay a $800 car payment a month for a R. If I'm going to spend $800 on a car, I'd rather get, like what someone just mentioned, an RS3 or some type of better platform or more capable platform. Not a better platform, but a more capable platform for similar money. I'd rather get a used RS3 for 50,000 than to invest 50,000. And I know that the RS3 is going to be well more capable than an R. Versus me getting an R brand new because it's the newest thing out, and then you got to deal with inflation. Now, if there's not a lot out for that car and then the numbers go down, it's not a numbered car. The old R's used to only be made like 5,000 in its model year, but it's not the case anymore. But I don't think that that will be an option for me to get a Mark 8R. So a lot of you guys that are looking into that, see that for the channel. Unfortunately, I'm sorry to burst your bubble, but I have to live within my means. If I'm going to get another build or another project or just another fun daily car to drive, and it will be street modified, right? It's something that you guys can buy. I want to have something that's more relatable to the masses versus something that's so unique and so out there that no one's going to do it. There's very few people that will modify a Mark 7 to the point of magnitude that I have. Even the magnitude I'm going to go after this. It will be something for me. I can say I have a race car at this point, and I'm happy with that. I'm content with that. I don't care if it doesn't make 600 wheel horsepower. I can care less, because usually the people are saying that don't make that horsepower anyway. So it's not. Yo, Mackenzie, congratulations on a lot, man. Shout out to Mac MK7, man, because this guy has been through a lot, and he's definitely manning up when it comes down to adulting. So congratulations on everything, bro. And I wish you nothing but the best for you and your family. Um, so I don't want to let you guys, I don't want to discourage you guys like I'm getting rid of the Mark 7. I'm never going to get rid of that car. At least now anyway, I don't have any, let me just rephrase that. I wouldn't say never. I have no intentions on getting rid of the car at this time. But eventually I would love to add another car to the fleet. Something again that's more obtainable to the masses. For instance, B8.5 S4, B8.5 S5, they go for anywhere from between $19,000 to $25,000. I think that's more reasonable for a luxury sports car. And on top of that, you get the four rings, right? You get the Audi. It's not, that motor's not shared with any other platform, and you know it's within its own, I should say. And the tuning for that thing is incredible. Upper pulley and intakes and dual pulley and all that other stuff. Um, and doing some radio modifications. I hear a high-pitched metallic sound when I hit 3,000 plus RPMs with the boiler S-type catback. Check your downpipe. You're probably rattling on something. I'm guessing that the bracket's probably hitting against something that the downpipe's attached to, or your exhaust is probably sagging and it's not where it needs to be. So I would just lift the car up again, look at everything, make sure that your exhaust is fully tight and everything is aligned where it needs to be. I would just give you that guess. But I think the Audi S4 would be something or S5 would be something that's really cool for the channel. I think that is a car that I would love to own for a long period of time. And it is a very reliable platform. Key word in that, reliable platform. I've talked to multiple people who have S4s and S5s and SQ5s, and they've all told me the same thing. It's a pretty reliable platform when you're looking down into possibly going that route. It really shouldn't be an issue. So hopefully, if I do get that car, then I shouldn't have any issues. And then obviously I would take it to Geo, or I would learn how to do maintenance myself. There's a lot of things that I want to learn on this car too. Again, it's a new platform for me, so I kind of do want to enjoy it and have some fun with it, right? Also, along with the channel, I do want to start doing more reviews on people's cars. So if you guys have cars that have unique builds and you guys want me to review them, and you guys live in anywhere in the tri-state area, Connecticut, New Jersey, New York, let me know. Shoot me a DM on my I would have to say definitely just DM me in my Instagram, which is JR14YT on IG. So definitely check that out. And if you guys have any questions or cars you want me to review, or friends that have cars that they want reviewed on the channel, please let me know. I'm actually grouping up a bunch of cars at this current time to start reviewing and having for you guys on the channel. The goal is to have 2 videos per week. Hopefully later on into the springtime, where I can do 2 videos in one day and review a car, like make a day just for car reviews and make a day for the GTI or my personal car content. Like really expand the channel out and get a wider, broad audience, so that this way I can really start flourishing and getting the channel where it needs to be. Let me see if you guys have any questions. So that was just like me going through what's going on with the, so we talked about what's going on with the GTI. We talked about when the GTI is getting fixed. We talked about the situation. We talked about when the car is going to get, modified for track spec stuff with Aerofab and Boomerang and New German Performance. We also talked about other modifications that you're going to be seeing on the Project Mark 7 very soon. And also we talked about, what else did we talk about? We talked about new cars that are possible new cars for the channel. So at this time, if you guys have any questions for me, shoot them now. I'm going to go scroll back really quickly to see if we have any questions or concerns or anything. Let's see. What place would you recommend suspension install for Mark 7? If you live in the New York City area, you're already gonna know that I'm gonna tell you European Auto. They did my coilover suspension setup in an hour and a half maybe. So I think that that's gonna be the place where you should go to get your suspensions done if you live in the New York or New Jersey area. I totally recommend them. Let's see. So the next question is, I'm sorry if you see my finger a lot. I'm just trying to, let's see. I had to adjust my circuit works like 3 times for it to quit rattling. Man, I had a circuit works downpipe and it drove me crazy. No matter what I did, I don't know how many times I was underneath the car trying to figure it out, and it would annoy the crap out of me. So I decided I'm not gonna. I decided to go MA Performance, and I loved it ever since. Fits right, quality's there, no issues. Jalen said, you mentioned Euro manifold earlier. Are you currently multi-port injection? No, I am not. I'm actually still just OEM direct injection with the current setup. Oh, you will see Dyno Day. Dyno Day is going to be coming up once the car is repaired. I'll have the car here for a month, so I'm going to try to do all that content within the month, and I'm going to put a car on a different dyno. Most likely we'll go to InTrack in Jamaica, Queens, New York, and we'll dyno the car there and get that situated. So you guys can film that and see that for yourselves. But no, yes, I'm currently not multi-port injection yet. I'm not MPI as of yet. If I did go multi-port injection, I probably would do the Euro manifold route, and with the added fuel rail, and do Gulf R injectors in that fuel rail and see if I can get the car tuned like that, and see if that'll work. Justin Rashad said, would you recommend lowering springs or coilovers for 19-inch wheels? Kind of want to keep the DCC, have a 2016 Mark 7 with performance package. Actually, my car is a 2017 GTI with the performance package. When I first got it, the first set of wheels that I did buy for it were 19-inch niche wheels, Vassos wheels, in metallic gunmetal gray, and I had Federal 595 tires on it, and it was stretched. When I talk about they were stretched, they were stretched. I was lowered on H&R lowering springs. I would say definitely springs are great. They're not expensive to do. I would just say depends on how many miles you have on your struts, because if you end up having, if, like, let's say for instance, if you have 100,000 miles on your struts and then you replace the springs, you might as well just either do one or two options. When you replace the springs, just replace the shocks too. But at that point, now you're in, if you do that, now you're in the price of just buying a traditional coilover setup. So the option's technically really yours. Depends on how many miles you have on your. Okay, so you have about 75,000 miles on your GTI. My opinion, buy a set of coilovers. Because as soon as you put those springs on, depending on where you live, I would just say those springs are those struts are probably gonna last about maybe 10,000 miles, and then you're gonna start noticing a little bit more bouncing than normal, and your rebound's not gonna be on point. So I would just invest in a set of coilovers, and if you do want coilovers, BC Racing coilovers. Now with the DCC, there are ways of coding it out. My car did not. I did not get an Autobahn car, so I don't have DCC. My car's an SE, so I actually have traditional coilovers on the car. And yeah, so that's just, if that's what you wanted to do, that would be the option that you would have. Or depending on how deep your pockets are, they do make a DCC eliminator kit for KWs. Now that you're talking about maybe a couple grand for a set of coilovers, but again, it depends on where you want to spend your money. Hopefully that does help. Let's see if there's anybody else with any questions before we wrap up. We have about a few minutes left. If not, I'm going to cut it short. But yeah, so like again, whoever has not given this video a thumbs up, please do. Make sure you give the video a thumbs up. We talked about a lot today. And I can't wait to start this journey with you guys. I haven't done a live stream in a while, and now I'm trying to get my equipment, as you guys can see by the reflection on my glasses. I'm trying to make sure that the equipment that I'm using is up to par, so that this way when it comes down to doing content for you guys, we're all there. You know what I'm saying? So I'm glad that you guys can roll with me and rock with me and understand where I'm coming from, because I'm trying to make sure that the quality that I'm giving you guys is top notch. Thank you. Can't wait to make the future content for you guys. You guys have definitely been a huge supporter of the channel. I want to give everyone a special thank you for supporting the channel for the last 7 years. We're in 2021. I started this channel in January of 2014. So they're on sale and I'm in college. So yes, I would just get BR series racing coilovers. The BS or BR series, which is the basic coilovers, but they still come with camber and dampening adjustment. But I like, again, I'm going back to that. I really just like, again, I appreciate every single one of you guys for supporting the JR14 channel, supporting what I have to provide for you guys as far as Mark 7 content. And I do want to get a new platform so I can show you guys new things and learn different types of, you know, deals and stuff with cars and get into a different platform within, I mean, it's obviously the same community. So, you know, I think it's Volkswagen, Audi, and then maybe a Porsche later on. JR14 the GOAT. I have a long way to go, but Corey, I do appreciate the compliment, man. Thank you so much. Got one more question. And Mark says he's got the ECS tuning slotted and drilled rotors with EBC red stuff pads. Keep hearing a grinding noise after about 1,000 miles. Don't think they're supposed to sound like that. Now, is the grinding noise only on the cold when you first start the car and you start driving, but then the sound goes away when the brakes warm up? Or is it a consistent noise? Oh, and I think if it is a consistent noise, then I think I know what it is. So let me know that. Hell yeah, I've been watching since I got a Mark 7 a couple years ago. I've squeezed every bit of content out of this car. Things I don't like about the GTI, I've done that. I've done every install video you can ever imagine. I've done 3 different types of wraps on the car. I've done multiple intakes, like at least 8 of them now. I've done so many videos with this car consistently. Okay, so the sound is consistent. So the thing about the way, so on blank disc or disc that doesn't have any like designs on it, like slotted or drilled in it, you're not going to hear any noise because there's a smooth surface. Now, when you start drilling holes and you have the slots in them, now you have like a groove in the surface. So think of a brake pad and its consistent groove, and the grinding sound that you're hearing, it's not loud. It's probably just like a slight hum that you're probably hearing on hard braking, and it only gets louder because it, you know, obviously when the brakes heat up, when you're like really on the brakes, that's when it's like I mean, that's how it felt for me. My car currently has slotted rotors, and I do hear that sound all the time. And I have EBC yellow stuff pads, and that's pretty normal. It's because of the fact that you have slotted rotors on the car with grooves in the actual rotor, and when the brake pad grinds against it, it will make a noise. It's a more audible sound. So I would just say that. I have a 16. Justin, I have a 2016. I'm thinking about getting the SoloWorks. Seems a little odd for the price, but I hear nothing but great things about them. SoloWorks is pretty good. I almost did a sponsorship with them, but I knew those coilovers wouldn't be proper for my build. If you just want to go low, if you're looking to do track stuff, SoloWorks is not going to be the coilovers. But if you really just want to go low and have a quality coilover, you can do BCs like I have on my car, $1,000, or you can do the SoloWorks, which I think